Hello and welcome to the City Manager's Report. I'm your host, Jill Fraley, along today with City Manager Donovan Blackburn, as always, and our guest, Steve St. John from the East Kentucky Expo Center. Welcome into both of you today.
Well, it's our pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's nice when we have other people come join us, right?
That's what I was going to say, Jill. It's nice to have a guest every now and then.
It is. Now, before we get to Steve, I do want to say this. We have a couple other guests that are behind us that are standing proudly, if you can see them in your monitor there. We have Hillbilly Bear from artist Jordan Justice, and we also have Crazy Bear, which is right behind me, oddly enough. From Judith Vermillion from Whitesburg. We're going to be talking to the new director of the Artisan Center a little bit later about the Bear Affair project, and we're so thankful to have the two bears here today. All of the bears are finished.
Right.
They had the big reveal a couple of weeks ago, so we'll talk in great detail about those, and they're absolutely beautiful.
I'm really excited about the project. I'm looking forward to bringing Leanne on here in a little bit, and introducing her to the camera and the community, and then getting a little bit more in depth about what this board and the good community is doing. So
we will talk about that a bit later. But what we want to do right now, welcome in Steve St. John. So nice to have you with us.
Thank you very much for having me today.
Anytime you want to stop by and chat with us, you come right on, okay?
Well, I appreciate that.
We're going to talk a lot about the Expo Center, the wonderful facility that it is. Beautiful. The only one of its kind right here in Eastern Kentucky. Hosts so many fantastic events, concerts, public meetings, things of this nature. But we wanted to talk a little bit about what it actually does do.
Yes.
And people need to know that it's not just for concerts.
No, it's not. I invited Steve along, Jill, to kind of educate the community, because there is a lot of questions out there, and folks don't really understand what the Expo Center does. To your point, a lot of folks in the community think it's just about concerts, and it's not. Let me back up before that we bring Steve in to kind of give his analysis of what all happens with the Expo Center and all that they do, and to say that this was a vision. I'm going to go back many years ago of Mayor Hamley and then County Judge Paul Patton had talked about pursuing an Expo Center for our community. We've had these discussions before, that as we grew up in our communities during our generation, our community, our people, our youth, and well, adults, our parents, had to take us to places like Kingsport and Johnson City and Huntington and Charleston and Lexington to have to see an event, which again impacted our quality of life. Because also when people leave our community, they're taking their dollars that they've earned from our community back to those communities and spending them, because you don't just usually go to a concert. You also go and get gas. You stay in a hotel, maybe you get food, and you may shop and do other things. So this was an important issue for quality of life for the community, but also to help our economy continue to grow. So I go back again. I've had many conversations with Governor Patton about the Expo Center and applaud his efforts, because during that era, and of course I wasn't with the city at the time, I came on as the Expo Center was being built. And but before that, there was a lot of discussion in the community, a lot of support for the project, but there was a lot of people that didn't quite understand the project, that quite honestly was opposed to the project. And today's no different. There are still people that support the Expo Center, love it, and there's some people that quite honestly just don't understand it. The City Commission, because of what it does from an economic development standpoint, spent a lot of time working with the East Kentucky Expo Center Board, working with Charles Baird and Donna Dameron and several others that were doing all that they could, and Steve St. John was brought on during that time with SMG, doing all that they could to save the facility. The facility, as I have said in the past, was owned by the state. However, after Patton's administration left, the administration that was in charge at that time did not put funding in to fund the facility. Because if you go back, and I have a full copy that I've read through many times, a copy of the study that's available to anybody that wants it, and I say that because, again, through misconceptions and misstatements that are in the community, that this facility was slated to lose money. These are lost leaders for the community. Jill, across the country, and again, Steve, I'll let him address these issues because he's more the expert than I am, because his company manages these facilities all over the country. But throughout the whole country, these facilities are not money makers. They are brought into the community as a loss leader in order to generate other business. And so therefore we get residual business and residual tax dollars off of other business, such as, again, hotels, restaurants, conferences. And it goes above that and beyond that. I was recently speaking with Walter May, with the hospital. And one of the conversations we talked about was quality of life. And Walter's had great vision, and the hospital has grown, has created many jobs and a great quality of life for us from the standpoint of medical care. But one of the things that was discussed was when they go after recruiting a new doctor to the area, and we've talked about this before, that if they go to New York or California or Chicago, and you've got these doctors and physicians that used to a certain quality of life, and then you bring them to Pikeville to where they have to travel 2 or 3 hours to all these amenities such as restaurants and entertainment and park systems and things, then it's very difficult to bring the caliber of people that need to come in to help our community grow. And again, the City Commission, the mayor and the commission done a wonderful job of understanding what that comprehensive plan said and understanding what the Expo Center meant to the community, and therefore worked with the together to create a tax base to be able to save the facility, along with have worked with the fiscal court and the legislators on some additional funds to help pay some of the capital and some of the back rearage off that was owed through some of the past debt. So over the last about 2 months ago, I think it was, we finally broke even to the point to where we didn't have a deficit. We were able to bring both the dollars that was committed through the tax base and the dollars that was generated through SMG through different events. We were able to pay off the $600 and some thousand that was that it was in debt, not counting what it was incurring every day. So and we did that. And then the other thing that we was able to do that I appreciate SMG when we sat down through our negotiations is that there was quite a bit of debt that was owed to SMG, over $300,000, I believe it was, Steve, that was owed to SMG. But part of our negotiations is that SMG forgave a big part of that debt in order to further their contract. Now, the way the contract, when I say further their contract, they had a 3-year contract remaining, and we kept the 3-year contract, but instead of it a full 3-year term, it goes year to year. And SMG had no problem with that. The city had no problem with that because we wanted to make sure that we evaluated where the Expo Center was. If we were committing taxpayers' dollars, local dollars to the Expo Center, we wanted to make sure that it was going to be successful. So everybody came together to save this facility, understanding what it means. And I use the hospital as one example, but if you look at the University of Pikeville and what it means to UPike with their various sports programs. And again, we can get into some of that a little bit later, but I did want to put the history out there to understand that back when the study was done in the 90s, the projection at that time was it was supposed to lose close to around $300,000. If you look at the CPI and if you look at some of the other things that were layered onto the facility, such as food service and there's some additional cost that wasn't part of the original feasibility study. The original feasibility study, too, I'll add you, a very important part. And again, it's available to anybody who wants to read it. So it's not Donovan saying this; it's the study saying this. The experts, and Steve can echo this. Is the study talked about what type of when you look at concerts, because again, that's what more and more people think that the Expo Center is. But what it said is the acts that this facility would attract. What isn't the superstars? Isn't the Kid Rocks? Isn't the Leonard Skinners? It's the people that have roots within our area. It's the Loretta Lynn's, those type of caliber. Not that I love Loretta Lynn, right, but it's just people that have roots that would be willing to come to a rural market. Now, with the hard work again of the original Expo board, led by Charles Baird, and the hiring and making some hiring decisions and some decisions with the facility, that obviously has been disproven. We've had wonderful acts here over the past several years. I'm learning this business, and it's totally different because I have to put a different hat on now. And Steve's done a good job kind of teaching me a little bit about how this program works, because I, like everybody else, came in and said, "Steve, I want this act. Let's get them in here." Well, Steve said, "Absolutely, we can get them in here." But when you talk to the promoter, you're going to have to pay about $500,000 to get them through the door, and we're not going to make any profit off of it. It's not. So instead of having a $600,000 deficit, we're going to have $1 million deficit, right, because you got 7,000 seats. So there is a lot that goes into this equation that, again, the general public doesn't understand. But in what they SMG, because of the size of the company that they have been able to do, is through their routing program. Is because they service so many facilities. If you got somebody playing in area A and they're going to area B, then we can be area C in between, and they've got the ability of using the routing program to do that. So like I said, there's a lot of things in this equation. The facility is here. regardless of whether you were in, and I wasn't here again, I came on board in 2004, most of the commission wasn't here when it was brought aboard, but regardless of whether you were here or not during its planning, the facility is here. It's a big part of our community. It has a tremendous economic impact in the community. We've developed infrastructure around it, such as hotels and restaurants, that will help the facility into the future with additional conferences and those type of things. So again, what the intent of today, the first part of today's session, was just to kind of educate the community to what the East Kentucky Expo Center is and what SMG does with it. So that's a lot of things I said, I know, but I'll let Steve dig into the details.
Well, first let's talk a little bit about it. You mentioned that the perception is that it's just for concerts, but it's also the home of the University of Pikeville Bears.
Absolutely.
You know, they play there. I know that I have many meetings that are there throughout the week and throughout the month that I have to attend. A lot of people may not realize that the whole upper floor there can be broken off for meeting rooms too. So Steve, I want you to talk a little bit about, give us an overview of the expo and what it does right now in the community and the different events that take place there.
Well, the diversity of the property is phenomenal. We can turn that facility into what you need it to be for your event, and every event's different. We can borrow ideas from events that have happened in the past, but what folks don't realize is the facility hosted 190 events fiscal year 1 year ago. Our fiscal year that just ended June 30th, we hosted 255 events since the city took complete control over the facility. So, you know, you know, and everybody that's watching this program will understand there wasn't 255 events you could buy tickets for.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. Go over what some of those events were, because it's obviously not just concerts and ball games and meetings.
Absolutely. So we hosted the Kentucky County Court Clerks Convention. We had 200 guests come in from all over the state of Kentucky. They were here for three days. They had their own entertainment inside with banquets, meetings, educational, continuing education, all kinds of events that they hosted just for their group. This happens for us possibly once to as high as 3 times a year. We're talking with another group that wants to be in here in April, right after Hillbilly Days in 2013. So this is great economic impact. Not only are they renting our hotel rooms, eating in our restaurants, doing their meetings at the Expo Center, but they're shopping. You know,
right.
they're in our retail. So that's the type of economic impact that we're talking about. The ability to host events such as high school basketball tournaments. We do Kentucky Farm Bureau basketball tournament every December, and Kent Thacker does that tournament and brings in teams from all over the nation and Kentucky. I mean, far parts of Kentucky as well. So those teams are coming in, they're spending their money, they're eating, they're lodging, and showing the folks of Eastern Kentucky that have a passion for basketball and high-level recruits for Division I basketball. Those kids are coming in. They see them before possibly Kentucky will get them signed.
Right, and it also hosts the 15th Region Basketball Tournament too, which is a massive venue.
Well, and with that said, it goes back to, I want to define what quality of life is. When I played football in school, there was a couple of stadiums that I went to that I still remember today.
Right.
And those kids, instead of playing in their high school gymnasium, which we got some great school gymnasiums in the county, but being able to come to the Expo Center and playing in a venue that's equal to the size of Rupp Arena's floor leaves an everlasting impression, something that these kids will remember for a lifetime.
Absolutely.
So it's not just about, again, showing up for a concert, which we love the concerts because they bring actually quite a bit of revenue in, but there are other events, again, that have an impact on our community and our kids. So, Steve, you mentioned event days. I know, can you explain just a little bit about what an event day is? Well, just so people will understand what you're talking about.
The number of events that we had was 255. Now, event days we had 230. That means 230 days out of 365 we had something happening in the facility. One thing that people don't understand is through the summertime, through the summer months, we have a minimum of 2 wedding receptions a week. We do phenomenal wedding business with our in-house catering. People are enjoying that facility. They may do their wedding on the plaza. They may do it in the city park, and then they bring the reception over to the expo center. So sometimes we're doing multiple events a day, and that's how we can get more events in than we have actual days in the year or event days. So a typical day that turns a high number of events for us would be whenever you have the Nightmare on Main last year. We had 5 events happen in the same day. We had the early trick-or-treat that was hosted by the Y for some of the special needs kids. We had at the same time going on the college fair where U-Pike had all the schools from Kentucky come in and do a representation to all the seniors and juniors from the high schools. We did a breakfast for the visiting schools as well, and we had an event in the evening. So it's just, there's multiple moving parts in the facility, the layout of the facility, and the way that it's structured. You can have separate and multiple events going on at the same time, which makes it very unique.
I've been there on some of those event days, and to be able to see how it all comes together, and it really is a well-oiled machine, how it all works together. And I know I don't know how many miles that you must walk around those corridors, daily, but it really is. I mean, it all comes together. It's precise every single time. I've been involved with some events, and it's to the letter, and I just really commend you on the fantastic job that you're doing and your staff.
Well, I thank you. I do have a super staff. Without them, I couldn't get anything done because I can only retain so much of that information. But everybody knows their part. They're doing their job. They're first class, and we try to deliver. Everybody's our guests. Okay, it doesn't matter whether you're the performer or whether you are the ticket buyer. So we treat everybody with that kind of respect to make sure that they're spreading the good word of food and service and things that they would be receiving there.
One of the great events that they do, actually, that the day that we're taping here, we're going to tonight is the chamber dinner.
Yes.
That's every year. Now that is a massive undertaking as well, because it will be on the floor, and the way that everything, it's absolutely beautiful, and it's all so well done. But that's another thing that people just really don't realize, is that floor can be turned into just about anything. They had the gala there last year for the hospital. Would never know that you were standing on the basketball floor.
That's exactly right, and we transform the building into what the client's looking for. A lot of time budget dictates the type of decorating and things that you can do, but a vision as well. And what people don't understand is the staff, it's the 11th and a half hour changes that our clients have whenever they're getting ready to open the door, and they say, oh, I didn't want for that particular table or pipe and drape or type of decorating to be in that spot. So we've got to make it happen, and the show must go on.
And you do.
That's the name of the game, and we don't share that with the public. But public perception is that things are good, right? Sometimes we run into issues where we'll open late for an event, and it's strictly the fact that the promoter or the person that's renting the building is having an issue. And when they take these shows down and put them up on a daily basis, you run into issues. And we try to get it to make it happen as fast as we can to get the people in, to ticket time as we can.
That's one of the things that people don't understand
There
too,
you go.
is that it's not you doing it.
Yes.
When you have an event come in, their promoter kind of takes over, and you just have to, you kind of monitor the building, but it's their deal.
Well, that's what I was going to say. And we had, for example, a few months back, I guess, we had an issue with a promoter, and that's what SMG does, is they operate the facility. A promoter comes in, when they book the facility, it's their facility. They're our tenant, we're their landlord. Steve's job is to make sure that the lights are on and that everything's clean and neat, but the promoter dictates what goes on. We had an issue that and I didn't understand this either, Joe, when I came on board. And I went in with Steve and said, why can't we do this, why we did that? And then I found out real quick under the contracts and the way that these things are structured, to get those quality acts in, there's certain things that you have to do and have to be accountable for. But we had a situation here to where there was a sound system problem. There was a interference on a major name, with the sound system, and the promoter and the artist refused to allow the doors to be open. Now, they control the facility. SMG or the City of Pikeville don't say, okay, we're going to shut the doors. They say we're not letting people in, then they're not letting people in. It's their show. They finally, and unfortunately it was the day that it rained, so everything that could have went wrong kind of did go wrong, but it was the promoter making that decision. And I won't say unfortunate, but fortunately, if you want those type of acts in here, we hear it all the time, and Steve puts up with it, but there's a lot of I call them the diva act, where they come in and they want this, that, and the other, and it's amazing when you look in the green room of all the things that are required sometimes for these acts to come.
Odd things sometimes.
Very very strange. But if you want that act here, that's part of the contract, and we're mandated to follow those guidelines. So again, SMG or the city or the facility sometimes gets a black eye on an issue that it's not us controlling the strings. It's us willing to either take part of the risk or again to lease the facility for X amount of dollars, and then when we do that, it's their show.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go back to one of the statements that was made about the regional tournament and kind of give folks a little background into the tournament. We have the only region in Kentucky that pays every team that even is participating or non-participating. We write every school a check, all 16 of them, okay? And the checks are they're equal in a form and fashion. If you participate in more games, you take home more money, but it's a very small amount per game because we pay some travel expenses and some meal expenses and things like that. Typically, we are sending back to the 16 schools of the 15th region on an annual basis around $5,000 each. Okay, that being said, you're talking about we're getting back to the schools $60,000 to $80,000 a year. Okay, so if you're wondering where the money goes when these events happen, the talent is our local high schools and our local athletes, and the money's going back to their schools. It's just like whenever you have a concert, the same effect. So, that's where the money goes for the tournament. And then you have some other things that I'd like to educate the public about is whenever you come in and the concession stands, everybody wonders where all that money goes that they're paying for their products there, or for our products and for their meals. We use nonprofits, and we're using nonprofits from all around the area. And some of those nonprofits are making in excess of $5,000 to $10,000 annually that they're funding their programs with. You see basketball teams, cheer teams, dance teams, disabled veterans, you name it. We've had all kinds of different nonprofits come in there, put their time in running our concession stands. We write them a check at the end of every month. So, last year we sent $22,000 out into the community in labor costs for running those concession stands for folks to fund their nonprofit, whether it's sport team or some civic group.
Well, and I guess that was the point I was going to make is that Steve isn't paying those people to run a salary. These are groups that come in and volunteer their time.
Right.
So they're not getting paid a salary. So there's a savings to the Expo Center from an operational standpoint, because imagine trying to hire somebody to come in only when you have concerts in a rural community. So what he's able to do is to take a two-level approach. One being to bring the nonprofits in to save the Expo Center payroll, but more importantly, to bring the nonprofits in and let them to participate to earn income for a nonprofit group on, again, a government facility. So in this case, it's a great partnership. Everybody wins, and it's worked actually quite well.
It does.
And what was the total that you said last year?
$22,000.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Back into the
It's
community.
and these are things that people really do need to know and see the benefit in that wonderful facility that we have. Speaking of which, we have some concerts coming up. Leonard Skinner will be in town on the 13th of September. We did mention there is a perception apparently that the concert is sold out, and that's certainly not the case.
That is not the case. We've had our sales are at about 30% right now. There's plenty of seats left, plenty of selection of seating areas available. I think part of the perception is folks will go onto a pre-sale. I think this particular show we had probably 6 different pre-sale codes that were out there. Now that's buy the ticket before it goes on sale a day or two before the public on sale. We have a Expo e-blast that we send out via our Ticketmaster platform. So there's all kinds of codes out there, and what I'm afraid of is happening at this point is folks are going onto those pre-sales and there's not tickets available for them, and they're thinking that the whole show's sold out.
Right.
We put a limited amount of inventory in those pre-sales. We don't sell 100% of 100% of everything on pre-sales because we want to have something for the folks that come up to the window on the on sale date for the show. Now sometimes they sell out pretty quick as well. So, but this show is not sold out. It offers a very unique lineup for us that we had the opportunity to get the opening bands for this particular show. So we offered the Road to Fame winner, Logan Hall, the opportunity to open up for this show, and then a couple of locals that have made well. They're playing the Lexington market on a weekly basis. They've done 2 shows for us, Sunday best. And these 2 young men are doing a bang-up job. The last time we had them at the Expo Center, they sold over 1,400 tickets.
Isn't that amazing too, though? Chris Bentley, Nick Jamerson, it's kind of like we talked before about this, Steve, you and I did, about it's almost like a little cult phenomenon that they've got. These people that follow them, they do a lot of their advertising for themselves. I mean, they're just 2 local guys just trying to, make it big in music, and they do a lot of things on Facebook. But the concert that they did here, it was nearly sold out, wasn't it?
Well, the way we had it set up,
structure.
absolutely. They did sell out the first time we had them. We had them in the ballroom. We sold what the fire marshal would allow up there, so we were done for the night. Brought them back 6 months later, and they sold 1,400 tickets. And, you mentioned, it's very interesting, the 15-plus years I've been in this industry, they've been pushing social media 15 years ago, right? And we didn't have Facebook back then. But I'm telling you what, these guys have mastered social media. I mean, they are all over it. And we spent the way our deals arranged, we didn't do any conventional advertising. I know that doesn't bode well for this type of a platform for media, but we didn't have any expenses in advertising except for some trade tickets that we did. We sent the artist to do live interviews on the radio and trade the station some tickets to give away so they could get the airtime, but there was a zero budget for advertising there. So times are changing. And they do have an occult following almost.
They
very
really do.
Nice.
It's really interesting to see. So it's going to be Logan Hall, Sunday Best, and then Leonard Skinner. Many tickets still available.
Yes.
You could walk up at the Expo Center and get them if you would like. Or of course, you can still go on Ticketmaster.
Yeah. I wouldn't wait to walk up to the show day because a lot of times that misnomer goes out there as well, is that you can walk up and sometimes tickets sell, it's an oddity. They'll go all at once. So hopefully this exposure will help that show as well.
Anything
I think it
else?
will. We've got Sesame Street.
Sesame Street is coming in October. Mid-October.
What's the website where they can find all this great information out?
EastKentuckyExpo.com.
Go there.
Well, and one of the other things I'll mention too is the Expo Center was also ranked 3rd in the state by for sports tourism. So when you look at everything from basketball to arena football to the U-Pike and several other little deals that they've had there, a lot of our usage of the facility is around sports, which is great because it brings a lot of people in from outside the community, because all these sports teams travels with their parents. So it's a great venue. All these numbers and statistics. One of the things that I was really happy with when we came on board as part of our negotiation is that I wanted to be able to see, not just hear it, but see it. So all this stuff that Steve's talking about is in report form. So anytime that I want to see if he says there's 200 events, and I know what those 200 events are. So everything that we're talking about is viewable. It's just not word of mouth. It's actually in print. The community the downtown, and it's obvious when there is a major event because there's a lot of things that are booked up, restaurants, hotels, et cetera, et cetera. So it does have a tremendous impact on the community as well.
Certainly does. Steve St. John, thanks so much for visiting with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Come back anytime. We want to hear all about the great things going on at the East Kentucky Expo Center.
Thank you very much.
All right. Donovan, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to have the new Artisan Center director with us.
Sounds great.
Okay. Stay right there. And welcome back to the City Manager's Report. I'm your host, Jill Fraley. Now, we have taken a little bit of a different turn now. We have a new guest with us, Donovan. Leanne Hughes is here. Thank you so much for being here, Leanne.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome in. Leanne is the new Artisan Center and Visitor Center clerk, and we are so excited that you're finally on board and on the ground running already.
Well, she's been a great addition to the family, as I call her. We had some good discussions yesterday about vision and where we're going. She's here today to talk about some new exciting, I won't say they're new, but it's some exciting initiatives that's been going on, but she's been doing a lot of work with that. But I would like to take the opportunity first before you all get into your discussion, because this is, as I said, this is more your all's cup of tea than it is mine, because y'all have been working from the board's perspective and then from Leanne's perspective of taking over. But you mentioned the visitor center clerk as well. And if you're, Jill, if you're driving down on the boulevard right now, you're going to see some changes. One is the train, which was the county tourism train. The county tourism office has moved over to the Hampton Inn, which was a great location for them. We've mentioned that in the past because of all the travelers coming in. They've got a wonderful facility there, and we're tickled to death for them, especially with the new Hilton Gardens coming along. But the discussion was what do we do with the train? And after a lot of debate, and with the Jenny Wiley Theater Project coming on board, which is where currently the Artisan Center was located, and knew at some point that they would have to move. But the Artisan Center will be relocated to the train. And so what's going on is that they're out there now. We've hired actually a body shop that came in and had to get rid of all the rust, and so there's some painting that will go on. There's some interior design that will go on. We're looking at replacing some of the flooring and painting the interior part of it to make it a little bit more wholesome and welcoming. But what this is going to be is become the city of Pikeville's visitor center. Unlike tourism, because there's two major differences,
right.
and I want that very, very clear. We have the city had our tourism office in the Expo Center. We have disbanded that, and we have united with the County Tourism Commission. And the County Tourism Commission has a great location, has a lot of expertise, has great service. So we're in our partnership, and we're doing some things with tours and things we'll talk about here after this segment. But what the city's visitor center then will be is, as people are coming to town, because it's such a focal point, is to have 3/4 of the facility designated to the arts. So the things that you see behind us, such as bears and different artists that come into the market, having their work displayed. And then the front third of that will be where the desk is, and then somebody will be placed there. So as you're coming in town and you're looking for maybe where Walmart is, or you want to know where the medical center is, or you want to know where tourism is, then the visitor center will be able to direct people which way to go and where to go to find what. So that's the role that the visitor center plays. It's not tourism. It's talking about the city as a whole and where you can go to get information. So we're tickled to death. We've got somebody with an outstanding personality and has done a wonderful job in a couple of weeks that she's been with us now. So we're real excited to have Leanne on board. So that's one hat she's wearing. The other hat, of course, is she is the director of the Artisan Center Alliance. And again, I'm going to turn that over to you all and let you talk about all these wonderful programs that's going on.
Well, for people who don't know, the Artisan Center does a wonderful job about bringing local talent and exposing them to a whole different area of people that probably didn't even know that existed in our region. So that's one of the hats that the Artisan Center has. Leanne, we are so thrilled to have you. I know you're excited. You've been on board just a couple weeks, right?
This will be my 3rd week.
Your 3rd week, wow. So, and you've been very busy.
I have been very busy trying to get the bears underway, and we've had a few events already for the bears. We're waiting currently to display them out into the public on our main streets. So very excited about that, and I know the public is also.
The public is very excited about the bears. This is something that was talked about before, and you know, we've talked about being in different cities, and like Cincinnati with the pigs that they have, and Lexington has the horses. Right. And you know, it's a wonderful thing and such a conversation piece. And when it came to be that we were going to do the bears, I thought, wow, what a wonderful addition to our downtown area. And like you said, eventually these will be placed along our streets, different businesses, and people will have a chance to buy them. But talk a little bit about, if you will, before we talk extensively about the bears, what the Artisan Center is.
Well, the Artisan Center we're a nonprofit organization, and obviously we want to get the community involved in various art events,
Right.
And we want to promote our local artists as well, to help them promote their art, sell their art. Everything goes back into the Artisan Center and our goals and visions for the future.
Well, like I said before, a lot of people don't realize the abundance of fantastic artists that we have in our region.
Right.
And if anybody needs to contact you or doesn't know about the Artisan Center and they're watching today, they can do that. Now, you're located right now at the Garfield House because, like Donovan said, the terrain is currently under renovation. But they can call you there, right?
Absolutely, yes. They can call me. My office number is 444, obviously 606-444-5291. It rings straight to my phone. They can call me with any questions that they have. They can email me at lhughes@pikevillecity.com.
Very easy to get a hold of her. We can find her.
Yeah, we know where she lives. That's what I can tell her.
So let's talk about, now, when I came in, I was so excited that we actually had the Bears on set today because, usually it's just Donovan and I hanging out with the TV screen.
Yep.
But I came in today, and actually, we're going to talk about Hillbilly Bear first, and that is the one that is behind the two of you. Then we'll talk about Crazy Bear behind me. Crazy Bear is one that I saw when it was originally started, and I knew that I would love it immediately. But Hillbilly Bear, the artist, I will say, who painted this one so beautifully is Jordan Justice. Now, they're from Somerset, Kentucky, and the whole design concept was that Hillbilly Bear was going to be painted to commemorate one of the largest festivals that we have in Kentucky. Of course, it's our very own Hillbilly Days. Been running for 36 years in Pikeville, so obviously it would be one of the bears that we needed to do. And if you look at it, it's just, this is the first time I'd seen it, and it's just absolutely breathtaking. Isn't it?
It is very breathtaking. Whenever I first learned about the Bear Project, when I first came on, I really had no idea what to expect. Obviously everyone knows the horses in Lexington,
Right.
But I wasn't sure what to expect, and they are amazing.
They are.
And Hillbilly
they're
Bears,
huge.
they are. They're life size.
They are.
They're life size bears, and they're colorful and animated. They all have different themes. Hillbilly Bear, if you notice up towards the top of him, he actually has our cut through.
Yes.
On
I
him.
see. I didn't even pay attention to that.
So he's very unique,
Yeah,
and
we're
he
getting
will
a
be.
shot of that right now.
Oh, okay, yes, and he's very unique, and he will be located on the gazebo, beside the gazebo at our city park.
So that's going to be his permanent home.
That will be his permanent home as long as he's with the city.
Okay. Now, it's just wonderful. I love the balloons, everything about it. The hillbillies on the bottom playing their instruments is just wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the other bear we have that's behind me is Crazy Bear. Now, this one is very interesting because when you think of artists, Donovan, you think of younger people.
Right.
You
do.
This actual bear, Crazy
Yes.
Bear, is from Judith Vermillion.
I love
okay?
this story.
This is great. She's from Whitesburg, Kentucky. And her concept was quilting is something that she loves and has long been a part of Appalachian heritage. So she drew inspiration from the crazy quilt patterns that we always love. And I can remember my grandmother, and she still to this day will give me quilt patterns that she made years and years and years ago. And my favorite ones are that she just takes odd pieces of different fabrics and just sticks them together, and it just becomes whatever it is. Those are my favorite, and this is kind of what Crazy Bear is, and that's how she applied it. Now, I can't remember, is she 80?
She's 81.
81 years old, and we're getting a shot of Crazy Bear now. Look at her. I mean, she is, and obviously I'm calling her she, so
Right.
I guess
I believe that she is a she.
I think so. I mean,
She is now.
She
She
is now.
is.
Hillbilly Bear can be the guy. But, I mean, just amazing. And I hope that we can get down, Ronnie, if you can, to her feet, because she even has painted toenails.
Yes.
I thought that was just the neatest thing. Look at that.
It really is amazing, but it's a great depiction, again, of our culture, of the
Absolutely.
area. It's not hillbilly days,
Yeah.
quilting. And these artists, as you all know, they just went all out. I mean, I'm so proud.
I am just so tickled with how they turned out. I mean, you can just stand literally forever and look at the different bears. I really want right now for somebody to quilt. I make an actual quilt
Yes.
that looks like the bear behind us
Yes.
because it's just gorgeous. And to think that, she's 81 years old. she painted this. I mean, and when you see the brush strokes and all the detail that she put into it, it's just amazing. Lynn, give us a rundown of some of the other bear themes. I know that the astronaut bear is also something that
astronaut
is out of this
bear,
world.
he is. He's phenomenal. If you look at his face, you look like you are looking at a bear. His face is so realistic, and the artist who created him has been collecting these parts over the years, and he never really knew what he was saving them for, but turns out it was for Astro Bear. He is amazing. He will be yes. He will be at the Expo Center for the public to view. He will be in the window. He will be mobile. So when we have events at Main Street Live or at the Expo Plaza, he can come outside and people
visit
can
with
view him.
everybody.
He can visit with everyone.
And he'll be the only mobile bear at this point.
He is our only mobile bear.
And as Leanne goes down the list, understanding that one of the things she's working on is we have designated certain locations. We tried to theme them up with the various locations where they'll be placed. They'll be mounted for the public to see, just like you saw the horses and things. So she's working with UMG right now and getting all that the preparations to have them mounted. So we're really, I'm really excited because of all the hype around it to actually the public to get to see these colors out there in live and in person.
Yeah. What are some of the UK bear with all the
Oh,
faces
the
of the national
UK
championship winners? It is so lifelike.
Well, you're talking, history. UK, you're talking Adolph Rupp, Coach Calipari, Coach Patino. It is amazing. All of their faces and their championships, the dates of their championships, goes down the back of the UK bear. And he's wonderful. And he was created by a gentleman named Peyton. And
Local.
Yes, local talent here in our mountains in Pikeville. And he will be located at the police station closer to the road on Hambley Boulevard.
Okay. What are some of the other ones?
Well, we have U-Pike TV. You're going to love this because we have the U-Pike bear.
Right, obviously.
He is colored with different sports that U-Pike offers, and he's still undecided. We're waiting to find out exactly where does U-Pike want him to be located at. We have the Northern Lights bear, and he's beautiful, and he is decorated to resemble the Northern Lights. As of right now, I believe he is going to be located at the Visitor Center, along with Honeybee Bear, who is decorated.
I've not seen
Honeybee Bear is amazing, just because of the intricate work of the hives, the octagon type. There are so many of them, but they're so precise. It just amazes me the talent that people have.
Because clearly, I have always wanted to be able to paint anything or draw anything, and I do not possess any of that.
No
and I'm
artistic
just
talent.
Have so much respect and admiration for the people that do.
Yes, they done a fantastic job. When you look at Honeybee Bear, if you were to just have a piece of him in your hand, you would, possibly think, well, this looks just like a beehive. So it's
unreal.
He's wonderful.
So now, will there be an opportunity for people to? Are these going to be auctioned off still?
They will be auctioned off. It is to be announced.
Okay.
We're still trying to work out the details. I have had a couple meetings with the board, and we are still working out the details on that. But for now, they'll be in the city on our main streets, and we have them for quite some time. And we're excited about it and ready to let the public view them.
Well, I certainly can't wait. And when we get ready to get them mounted and get them in their places, we want you to come back and talk to us about exactly where everything is so we can direct people to that location. Not that they're going to be hard to find.
Right. Not that they will be hard to find. They are definitely going to stand out.
Yeah. I want you to give your phone number and your email address one more time because, like I said, there are so many artists in the area that may not know that the Artisan Center even exists because, we're still fairly new organization. Right. So those numbers and email.
Okay, yes, of course. My phone number is 606-444-5291. Again, that will ring straight to me. And my email address is lhughes, LHUGHES, @pikevillcity.com.
One thing I do want to mention, Jill, before we time out on this segment is that I also want to give great credit to the board. Frank Dahlhair is the chairman of the board, and of course you're a part of that board. I really, again, appreciate all those that come out and to contribute their time to such a worthy cause and to promote the arts in the community. I want to thank the City Commission because of for a couple of things. One is for allowing me to bring on a new position and to focus on this, but also for putting up the funding that was needed in order to purchase the initial bears, and also to promote the downtown area as an artist cultural district. So they understand and recognize the importance of arts, and we have partnered with, obviously, the Artisan Alliance in order to make sure that we continue to highlight this. And then the last person, as I said, I'm tickled to death to have Leanne on and all these wonderful things that she's working on, but also want to give great credit to Samantha Rogers, who was our initial director, who this was her brainchild, and along with the board, and had a lot of time invested in working with the artist and bringing this thing up to speed also. So there's been some wonderful people in our community that have made this a reality, and we're looking forward to this thing really moving forward and succeeding, along with a lot of other. Leanne's got a lot of other plans.
Absolutely.
A lot of plans right now with the board. I was overwhelmed yesterday.
That's like I said. Well, we're going to have her back probably a couple times.
Amen.
All right. Well, I can't wait to see these big guys and gals standing up around town, and I'm sure the public is also excited.
Oh yeah. So is the Artisan Board. We're all very excited.
All right, Leanne, thanks for being here with us.
Okay,
like I said, you come back anytime.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Donovan, we're going to take another break, and when we come back, I know you have some other things you want to talk about.
Yep, a few more things.
As always. All right. We'll be right back. Stay with us. And welcome back to the City Manager's Report. It's now Donovan's turn to talk about some of the great things that we have going on that we haven't already talked about, some wonderful things. We certainly do appreciate our guests being here and all the great information that they have brought us, because it really is enlightening to so many people.
Well, there's so many moving parts of our community, Jill, and I think it's one of the great platforms or reasons for this platform and this stage is to educate the community about what is happening, because a lot of people needs to get in, or may not only want information but want to get involved, and there's ways and faces that you need to see who's at the helm of making these great things happen, because and that's one of the things about government is things just don't happen. It takes people to make them happen, and we've got a wonderful community. And I keep talking about all the great things that the City Commission and the Mayor does, but as I mentioned earlier, all the volunteers that are on all these different boards, there's numerous boards that are part of the city, and again, these are faces that the rest of the community don't get to see very often, but they need to be acknowledged, and people need to understand what they do and what they mean to our great progressive community.
Well, along that same lines too, what we're going to talk about now, we have so many people that know about the great and exciting things that are going on here, and they want to come and actually see what's happening.
Well, and that's why I smile and say progressive community, because as I'm out, I just got back from the Governor's Local Issue Conference last week. This week I was in Lexington for a Kentucky League of Cities Insurance Board meeting. So I get the opportunity to travel a lot, and every time I'm traveling, people are coming up to me saying, "Wow, there's so much going on in Pikeville. We can't believe the growth. In a downturn in the economy, you all continue to thrive and move forward." And I give great credit to the mayor and the commission for great vision and serving their community, and we've got on top of that a lot of wonderful leaders out there, whether it's I mentioned the medical field or the educational field or the banking finance field, the retail field. I can go on and on and on. So we've got great leaders out there making a lot of great things happening. But yeah, we had a special guest this past Monday because of that.
Yeah, and tell us who that was.
Well, we at our last commission meeting, I got a call and said that there's a couple of folks who'd like to come down, and I told them about Pike TV. We drove by, we kind of gave a little look, and I wanted to acknowledge them because they're becoming really good friends of mine just for the half a day that we spent. But I want to make sure that I get all this right because actually Roger Powers, who was the mayor of Grundy, is no longer the mayor of Grundy. He is now the town manager. They have a town manager instead of a city manager. It's a little different format in Virginia. And then Mayor Blankenship, who is now the mayor. So Mayor Powers is now the town manager. He stepped back once their town manager had left. And then, like I said, Mayor Blankenship came on board as mayor. So, and then the vice mayor. All three of them made a trip to Pikeville this past Monday. I had the opportunity to spend about a half a day with them. And to your point, if you've ever been through Grundy, they had a major undertaking.
Oh my goodness! I did not realize how extensive their project, and that's all I could call it as a project, was until I drove in there, and it had been years since I'd been to Grundy when I went the last time, and I just couldn't believe the changes that have been made.
It is. I mean, to move basically a whole town, it was a major undertaking, and certainly they've had some hurdles to get over because obviously when they raised the town, they lost all their businesses, which paid their tax base. But they have been rebuilding. They've received several grants, and it's the business is coming back, and they're starting to get back to normal business with obviously much better position. But again, they called up and had been through Pikeville and heard all the wonderful things that are going on in our great city, and wanted to come and spend the day with us so that they could get ideals. And one of the things that I got tickled at was the mayor. They had several times along the the tour that I gave them and talking about how we work government and the vision of the commission, she said, every time I've got one word: unbelievable, 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 which was a great, again, credit to our community. I mean, I took them through Cedar and Cloy Ridge and Uptown Mountain and up Bob Amos Park, and I mean, we looked at the hospital and the Expo Center and the Judicial Center, and so I mean, they didn't realize the magnitude and size of our area. They didn't realize, all they thought was Pikeville was a small community like them. Which is a typical thought out there. And yeah, again, Jill, we are a community of 7,000. We had 10% increase in last population, so we're a community of growth, where most communities in Eastern Kentucky are losing population. But on top of that, we are a service area of 240,000 people, and that's what people forget about.
That is a number that people really, and we've talked about this I don't know how many times, that you just really can't wrap your mind around the number of people that go through our corridors every single day.
Amen. And our responsibility in government is to continue to build and create the quality of life. And then we talk about the Expo Center, and again, through the education, that's what we're trying to do with this program, that's why places like the Expo Center and businesses like the hospital and great financial institutions, that we have in our communities to give the wealth. And I could go on, educational, from the university to the independent school system to the technical college to, and I'm just talking obviously from the city's perspective. But, we've got a lot of great amenities. We've had a great amount of growth over the past several years. Our landscape continues to change because that's what our responsibility is in government, is to provide a quality of life. And it's great when you're recognized. I mean, I mentioned the Kentucky League of Cities some time ago. They did an article on the city of Pikeville and the growth, applauding for rural communities and amazed with what all that we have done through this vision. And again, I time and time again thank the mayor and the commission for the vision. But I also want to thank this great community, because what is special and why I choose to live here, this is my hometown, this is where I'd love to be, is because when we start one project such as the Bears, everybody jumps on board. They get so excited and so enthused about it, and that's what's happened time and time again. And as we get into some of our events and accolades that we have received along over the last couple of years, it's been amazing how we have been received, because understanding we have a great relationship, and I keep saying this because I want the public to understand. We have a great relationship with the County Tourism Commission. We are working hand in hand on many, many projects. But the City Tourism Commission has only been around for a little over a year now, and we've made great strides and progress, and again, creating venues and attractions and things to improve the overall quality of life and improve help diversify the economy.
Absolutely. Along that same lines, it's an award-winning group.
It is, and I was talking to my tourism director yesterday, and there was another group that wanted to acknowledge this city, and I said, so he had sent me an email and had copied down a few of the again, the accolades or acknowledgments that the city had received. And again, you get involved in this stuff and you kind of forget where you were and where you came. But understand that, here's a few, that the Pikeville Cut-Through Project was named by the Kentucky Tourism as part of the There's Only One, as a unique but global recognition attraction for the state of Kentucky. Muscle on Main was acknowledged by the Kentucky travel industry as a top 10 event for the summer of 2012. The Hatfield and McCoy River Trails was named a Kentucky Blue Water Trail by the Kentucky Fish and Wildlife. Only 15 recognized across the entire state of the Commonwealth.
That is a massive, massive honor.
It really is, and we've received. It's unbelievable the recognition we've received over the state. There was a major article written in the state's newspaper. We've had numerous people calling. We've received a lot of people coming into the area fishing our lakes now or river because of that. I mentioned earlier during the program with Steve, the Expo Center was ranked 3rd in the state through sports tourism. Hillbilly Days was East Kentucky Travel Industry named as a top 10 event for 2012. The Cafe on Main was the 2011 runner-up for the Kentucky League of Cities Enterprise Award. Muscle on Main was a winner for the KLC Enterprise Award. Pikeville City Tourism also partnered with the Country Music Highway. But we've also received an email, actually yesterday, I brought it with me, that we've got blogger Jessica Fiesta that will be visiting Eastern Kentucky. She is a well-known blogger, and she'll be coming here November the 27th through December the 5th, basically to blog about tourism in Eastern Kentucky.
Wow. Not
to mention that we had KET here just a couple of weeks ago, about a month or so ago, that did a massive story on Pike County and Pike County tourism. And We had the Pikeville Tourism Commission and the County Tourism Commission that did a tour with them. And I actually got a call yesterday from somebody downstate that said, "Hey, I saw you on KET." Because I did a little interview with them. They said that was a wonderful piece. Didn't realize that all these things existed. So again, through the great work of the Judy Patton as the chair and her commission, through the Pike County Tourism Office, and again myself and my board, and Jesse with the Pikeville Tourism Office, and of course Tony over at the county. I mean, it's really amazing where we're going. I just received this as I was walking over today, and I hadn't seen this yet. This is a new pamphlet, multi-page spread pamphlet of all the different attractions in Pike County that was just completed by the Pike County Tourism Commission. Again, Tony and his team did a wonderful job. If you haven't seen this yet, I suggest you get it, pick it up, look at it, educate yourself, because I got an extra one at the office. I only brought one, but it's yours. So it is amazing of all the things that are going on, which are leading into events. And a lot of this is partnership too. You know, I was talking to Jesse yesterday, and in our discussions, you know, we've got some great corporate partners as well. And you talk about the River Trails program. You know, we have partnered with Food City and Walmart in selling kayaks and doing some special events. Food Cities, and I showed at the last show, has got some banners that are putting up in their new location, and that's what we're trying to do. And I'm just talking about the River Trails program, but understand the significance of that. It's important for Food City and Walmart and all the parcels around them to grow, because from an economic standpoint, these are major economic engines for us as retail, along with banking and all the medical and all the other things we mentioned. I was just curious because somebody had asked me yesterday about how many employees, you know, what kind of economic impact does it have when you're developing all this retail development we got going on. You know, and our estimation is that new retail development, again, will create between 400 to 600 new jobs. But Food City alone right now, just a Food City at that location by Walmart, has 220 employees, of which 125 of those are full-time employees. Walmart has 430 employees, and 300 of them are full-timers. So just those two stores alone, you've got 650 employees and 425 people that are full-time that have benefits that are a major, again, part of our community. So our partnership with them is important. It's important for our growth, important for the things, for all these events and things that happen, but also from an economic standpoint, giving back to them through these different attractions and events is very, very important.
And we do have a lot of events coming up that we do want to highlight, because like we always go through a list of things happening, and it seems like it just grows and grows and grows. I have in my hand, I know this is October, but I do want to say this is a fantastic flyer. If you can see, I'll hold it up there. Nightmare on Main Street 3. This is something that Jesse Bowling is all over. Listen, it'll be a great event.
Yes.
It is so much fun to see all the kids come out and everybody's dressed up. But what's coming up soon?
Well, and look for Batman at that event too, because he's fun.
So I've heard.
The Cape Crusader. I won't even go there.
You're going to pick a different character this year, maybe?
Maybe I will.
Okay.
I'll find him. Well, some of the things that are going up, of course, every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we have the Hatfield McCoy Few tours. Next week, we've got 65 senior citizens coming from the Hazard Center doing the Hatfield McCoy tours. On September 24th through 26th, we have the Executives Conference that will be hosted in Johnson County, but they're going to be coming over here for the Hatfield McCoy tour. November 28th, we got the Kentucky Department of Travel and Tourism with the blogger that I mentioned, so all that's going on. We have the Pike County Bowl this Saturday at Hamley Complex. We've got the groundbreaking that we invite the community up for the new horse trail on this coming Monday, so the commission will be up doing a groundbreaking for that. Of course, we've got the Pikeville Cut Through River Rally and Fun Float scheduled for September the 1st. Main Street Live will be September the 7th. Muscle on Main Block Party September the 7th. Of course, the block party will be at Texas Roadhouse. The Muscle on Main event will be September the 8th. Paint Pikeville Pink, we can't say that real quick. September the 15th on Main Street. And there's some other things going on that for lack of time, I won't get into, but we'd like for you to visit our website for a list of all those attractions, www.visitpikeville.com. Which will give you a community calendar with a full listing of different things going on. So there's quite a bit, as always. There's a lot going on, a lot of participation with the community, a lot of fun, and overall it improves quality of life for everyone.
It does. It's an exciting time. You know, the weather is changing a little bit. You can feel fall on the air.
It is.
That will again attract many, many visitors to our beautiful mountains to see the colors.
You know, it's funny because we were talking about that yesterday with the Happimaquoy theme and going to all these different destinations with the driving tour. There's no better time than, I got an email from a gentleman in Louisville that had never been to Eastern Kentucky yesterday, and he just wanted to know what else there was to do. That he had heard about the Happimaquoy tours. He wanted to know where he should stay, wanted to know what other attractions were in the area. So it was amazing, again, just getting an email out of the blue from somebody from Louisville saying, I want to come to Eastern Kentucky. So we were going back and forth about the pristine beauty of the mountains, and I said, you haven't seen anything, wait till the fall foliage.
Yeah, the fall's the best time to come.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, Donovan, we are out of time for today. Always great information. We do want to say special thanks to our guest, Steve St. John from the Expo Center, and Leanne Hughes, the new Artisan Center and Visitors Center Director. I expect great things from both of them.
I do too, and I know we got a couple of seconds before I go. One thing I failed to mention, we will be working on the boulevard this Thursday, Friday,
That's right.
Monday, and Tuesday. So the boulevard from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. will be closed those days. Again, it's Friday, Saturday. We're going to be milling and resurfacing the entire boulevard. It was long overdue, so I'm glad the commission wanted to go ahead and get it done.
We also want to say thanks to our guy and gal behind us. We have Crazy Bear and Hillbilly Bear, right?
They're here, and you're going to see them live and in person.
We may want to keep one of those in here. I'll tell Al Greenfield that. Maybe we can keep one for a backdrop coming up. Donovan, always a pleasure.
The pleasure's all mine, Jill. We appreciate you.
We'll do it again soon.
Absolutely.
This has been the City Manager's Report. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.